Hockey Inside Out, presented to you by the Montreal Gazette.
Welcome to the Hockey Inside Out Show. I'm Montreal Gazette sports editor Stu Cowan, joined this week by regulars Chris Nyland and Jack Todd. And we have a special guest this week, Ken Warren from the Ottawa Citizen, who covers the Senators. Condolences go out to the family of Mark Reeds, the assistant coach of the Senators, who passed away this week from cancer, Ken. What impact is this going to have on the team, and maybe a little bit about him as a man?
Yeah, really sad day yesterday. The news broke, and to start a series, very, very odd, somber mood around the Senators. They knew that Mark Reed's been sick with cancer for quite a while. Came a little bit quicker than they expected, but real tough day for the Senators. As a assistant coach, primarily, he was in the background, Mark Reed's, but a guy one of those guys that puts in tireless hours and hours. Behind the scenes, doing a lot of video work, and Dave Cameron was talking yesterday about how you'd go over video like 10 times, and always Mark Reed would find something else, something new, a stick position or a body position, guy leaning one way or another, and he referred to him as a hockey genius, one of those guys in the background that doesn't get a lot of attention, but real big part of the hockey family. That
you knew him, right, Chris?
Yeah, obviously played against him. Scrappy player, really key face-off man. Did all those, the dirty work for St. Louis and Hartford when he played. But I coached against him in the East Coast Hockey League. Great guy. We were beating them 5-1. Third period, they scored 7 goals. We lost 7-5. I put my team back on the ice and skated them after the game. And he took his team off the bus and brought them all in and had them watch. And the next time we played against him, he said, "Chris, I took my team off the bus because I wanted to show them. They always complain about me working them hard. I wanted to show that." So, and, honestly, I almost lost my team at that point. But we used to have great talks before the games we played against each other, and we had that mutual respect. We had both played in the game. We were both in the minors, trying to work our way up in the coaching ranks, and just a super guy. It's so sad, going this early in his life. It's terrible.
Jack, heading into this series, some reporters around the Canadiens on a regular basis say the team looks nervous. Is there a reason for them to be nervous?
Well, all the pressure's on them. They're the team that won the division. They have 110 points coming off Eastern Conference final last year. There are bigger expectations. And I think they've been playing a little nervous the last month or so. They look tight. I think they need something to happen starting this series, an early goal, an early fight, something to get him loosened up and get him going. I would look to PK Subban more than anybody. He's always off the charts with the emotions. Maybe he can get them hyped up and they kind of shake the jitters.
Is there any pressure on the Sens, or is it all on the Habs, Ken?
I don't think so. Honestly, I think they're going in with the way this has gone for the last 6-8 weeks. It's been ridiculous. Every time they're in trouble, they find a way to get through it. And I just get back to talk about the nervousness, maybe Montreal. Is it the peak thing? Do you peak at they were guaranteed a playoff spot for so long here, and Ottawa is fighting every single game they need a win every game to get in. Does that change your attitude for the last month when you have to win every night, and now you go into the playoffs, you still have to win? So I'm wondering if that changes sort of your mentality entering into a playoff series.
Hey, they're playing with house money, nothing.
Yeah, they have absolutely nothing to lose, Ottawa. But the fact of the matter is, if Montreal is playing Tampa right now, we'd be talking about the Canadiens not beating them all season. They only beat the Ottawa Senators once this season, and the other three, they've struggled against this team. Ottawa, I go back to the Quebec Nordiques Montreal Canadiens. It's similar in a lot of ways, maybe not as much fire, but Ottawa has a healthy disrespect, I believe, for the Montreal Canadiens. And it's true. They don't want to, everything's Montreal, Ottawa in the background. This team has something to prove. They have nothing to lose. I'm worried about the Montreal Canadiens in this series. They're going to have their hands absolutely full, and it could have all the makings of an upset.
Jack, what do you see as the Habs' biggest weakness going into this?
The Habs' biggest weakness is scoring, especially if Pacioretty is out.
He's out.
He's out?
There's no way.
Okay, well then if he's out, then that's it's been a problem. It was a problem when he was in the lineup. Without him, it's a bigger problem. Other guys are going to have to step up. I think that's their clear weakness.
And that creates, Ottawa's done a really good job with matchups, and they can throw a couple of lines in terms of matchups. And I think that might be, if you're going to shut down one line, which it looks like it's going to be one line Montreal, I think that plays to Ottawa's favor here.
And, I say he's out because of the mere fact that, what happened. Yesterday, he supposedly cleared for contact. I was at the practice. He didn't take any contact. He didn't do any drills. He just stood around. So, no contact. And Michel Therrien, honestly, he's not a good liar.
With the tinted visor, too. I guess that's... what's the Senators' biggest weakness going into this?
Well, you could look at this and say it's the goaltending. Who is this guy? But every time you're waiting for the bubble to burst, it doesn't. And the team remarkably plays better in front of him. I don't know what the magic is. You guys have seen different hockey teams. They play better in front of this guy. They clear rebounds. There's only been 2 or 3 indications of trouble through this whole run, and he's bounced back. The team has bounced back from this. So I would say that's the weakness, and maybe a little bit of depth in the bottom end of the defense, but it hasn't been a problem because they've scored enough during this stretch.
How can you be a guy who has never really done very well at any level until you get to the NHL and all of a sudden you're Ken Dryden, Patrick Waugh, and I don't know who else.
You know what? This is what I'll say about him. Mental strength is ridiculous. He is unflappable. This guy has not been rattled by anything. So if that's part of being a professional and learning how to deal with little bumps in the road, he doesn't get nervous, he doesn't get rattled. But yeah, in terms of what he's done in the net, nobody ever. They were scared to put him in the net when this first happened.
So Carey Price versus the Hamburglar. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back, everyone. Chris, the Hamburglar, if you were playing or coaching for the Canadiens, how do you burst this guy's bubble?
You get over-focused on the goaltender. You have to take care of your game. You got to get to the net. To score on any goalie in this league, you have to get to the net. You got to get in good position to shoot. You got to get tips, screens, rebounds. You got to create some havoc around the net. Doesn't matter the goaltender. You have to get in those scoring positions to score. I believe this series, honestly, you're going to see it be determined down below the dots. And I say that in the Montreal end, they got puck-moving, quick defensemen, not real physical defensemen. Yemelin, Patterson when he's in. And those Ottawa forwards, if you looked at the game this year, they created opportunities down low, good scoring opportunities from the slot, those areas, not from the outside. Now, and they got a lot of speed. In the offensive zone for the Canadiens, when they play down low there, they're going to have to keep their feet moving and stay away from the contact. Those big defensemen, once they make it physical, it's boom, you're rubbed out, and they're out of the zone. So Canadiens can't afford not to keep their feet moving, have good support down low in the offensive zone below the dots. I think that's really where we're going to see this series determined. Yes, neutral zone, turnovers, maybe 2-on-1 rushes, 3-on-2, stuff like that may happen. These teams are going to play tight, but for me, my money is saying it's going to be determined down low.
Devontae Smith-Pelly could be key.
Well, it's exactly what I was thinking. He might help. If he'll go in and as much as Gallagher goes in, with an extra 50 pounds on Gallagher and plant that big butt in front of the Hamburglar, it might change the whole equation. I actually found the power play's been better since Pacioretty's been out. It seems to flow more. They're not looking so much. There's 2 guys, Subban and Pacioretty, to make everything happen. That might be another key to rattling him out.
Now, Smith-Pelly's had the big playoff last year with Anaheim, 5 goals. 5 goals. So that's I've been wondering what's happening since the trade with him and whether he's fit in here. But playoffs a different kind of hockey. So if you get that big body in front of the net, like you guys say, then maybe that's a factor here.
And he's finally in shape. You've been on him that.
Yeah, somewhat. Again, they say he dropped a few pounds, and he's got. Again, with him, it's going to be. It's great to have that big body, but if you can't get there to use it, it's one thing going in the front of the net and standing there. And tips and stuff like that and going for rebounds. But to get there and get on the forecheck, this isn't the league of the 80s and early 90s where, you could get there and after the pass you could hit a guy 3 seconds later or 4 seconds later. Now it's you got to get there and make contact when the guy has a puck or he just releases the puck. And his game is that, getting on the puck carrier, being that first forward. And if he can't get there in time, it takes the whole forecheck away.
Ken, how much credit does Dave Cameron deserve for turning this team around since he took over from Paul McLean, as better known in Montreal as what is the fat bug-eyed walrus?
Yeah, something like that.
I think a lot, just to talk about Smith Pelly, Cameron coached him in Mississauga on their Memorial Cup team, so he knows him quite well. So I don't know if there's some familiarity there. It's four years ago, but I think Cameron deserves a lot of credit. He basically essentially changed their approach. It's a much more aggressive forechecking style. With Paul Cameron, or with Cameron, it was more sit. With McLean, it was more sit back, wait for, and the defense is trying to contain rather than attack. And it's changed a lot because they move the puck quicker, they get it out of their own zone, and all of a sudden Ottawa looks like a fast team. They look like a slow team at the start of the year, and I think that has a lot to do with Cameron's approach since he's come in.
A lot of the series, Jack, is going to be PK Subban against Carlson for the Senators. Who steals the spotlight, or who steals the show in this?
I expect both of them to have a big series. I mean, they're huge talents. Assuming that Carlson is reasonably healthy, they will. But the thing with PK is he just loves this stuff. I mean, he loves it. And this is his moment. He loves every second of it. He likes the limelight. He's the stronger guy, obviously, the more physical player. I expect him to have a huge series, and if he doesn't, they're toast.
What do you like or don't like about Carlson's game, Chris?
Listen, when I look at the two of them, I think PK has it on the defensive end a little better than Carlson. Carlson, I think, is...
It's a bigger body.
Yeah, he's great offensive talent. There's no question about it. I think at times he's passive defensively, and he's not overly strong. PK, we know he's built, he's strong, he's tough in the corners, he can throw big hits. You never see that from Carlson. So it's a bit of a wash offensively, but again, my whole thing is with, Ottawa defensemen, 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", big guys. And when it gets physical down there and they play physical, it's going to be tough on the Canadiens.
Ken, the Senators are trying to keep Habs fans out of the Air Canada Centre with their ticket thing. Is that a big problem for the Senators players playing there when there's so many Habs fans?
I don't think so. I mean, I understand what they're trying to do. They don't want 10,000 Montreal fans in there, but I think it actually livens up the building. There's a reputation of Ottawa fans being quiet, and I think that's well-deserved. And I think when another team comes in, we've seen it often with Toronto and with Montreal, I think it gets Ottawa fans into the game more too, but in this case, it made a fact. There's a lot of Ottawa. Ottawa's a funny town because, especially the east side, it's a lot of diehard Ottawa or Montreal fans from way back. So they're trying to keep that element out of it. I don't think it's a fact. I like when Montreal fans are in there. Quite frankly, I think it makes it much more energy and enthusiasm.
I swear I saw a game down there 4 or 5 years ago when the fans cost the Canadiens the game. They had taken over the building. They were being pretty obnoxious. I saw a couple fights in the stands. Montreal gets up a goal or two. The fans start with the hey, goodbye stuff. Boom, boom, goal. The Senators win it. And I thought it was all to the Montreal fans that they pissed them off.
Who do you see being an unsung hero for the Habs in this series, Chris? Somebody who might step up.
Listen. Guys have to step up. I don't see one guy. I see Galchenyuk, I see Weiss, I see Gallagher have to step up. Guys like that, Delarose, Blazella, everybody got to pick up their game, and I'm sure they will. But missing Max out there, which I think they're gonna. Matter of fact, they are gonna. And I don't know how soon he'll be back. It's gonna be tough. And like I said, this Ottawa team, they're no pushover team. They're no team that, like I said, they have to be respected, and they're going to play hard. Again, I'm going to tell you, the Canadiens have their hands full.
I know you don't like predictions. I'm taking the Habs in 6. Jack?
I said the Habs in 7. I might regret it.
Ken?
I do think the Senators are going to win this. I think there's something beyond all the hockey talk, something very weird going on with this hockey team, and the bubble will burst at some point with the Hamburglar, but it hasn't yet. I just can't see right now what's going wrong with this team.
Do we get a prediction from you?
Listen, I hate making them, and I don't, but I'm going to tell you, the Montreal Canadiens, I'll reiterate this fact, okay? They have their hands very full. How's that?
Sounds good. Hope you enjoyed this week's show of Hockey Inside Out. We'll be back next week. See you all then.